Hello, everyone. My name is Madsen Srall, and I'm the owner and managing partner here at U-Nique Accounting. If this is your first time watching our content, I want to say thank you for finding and listening to us. If you are a returning user, if you watched our content before, thank you again, and thank you for continuing to tune into our channel. You can also visit us at u-niqueaccounting.com to check out our website. I highly recommend that you click on our blog page and also take a look at our downloadable guides and take advantage of those free downloads. If you haven't noticed my beverage, it was off to the side. It is Friday, so happy Friday. Since I work from home, I like to enjoy a Friday afternoon beverage. Could be beer, could be wine, could be a hard seltzer, or it could just be a sparkling apple cider probiotic beverage because I'm vegan and I like to drink things like that. So if you didn't notice on my cup, it does bear a hashtag. It does say hashtag make today count. This is a slogan for an organization called My Best Friends Foundation. It is a very close and personal not-for-profit that I'm a board member for. It helps people battling cancer. So we'll provide a link in the video to a form you can fill out. If you, family member, friend, anyone you know knows someone battling with cancer or is battling cancer, it's a form you can fill out so we can help you. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into today's topic. So today's topic is customer experience lessons from Disney World. So I had the benefit of taking my kids and my wife and kids to Disney World for spring break. And I got to read a really cool book, and I highly recommend you read it. It's called Inside the Magic Kingdom. And in this was lessons on customer experience. And it went into the concept of having like a really good onboarding program for your employees, and then how everyone plays a role in customer service. So having read that book, I knew when I went to Disney World, I wanted to pay attention and watch out for some things. So in my spring break trip to Disney World, I saw a lot of lessons, a lot of things from the customer experience point of view that I took away, but there's three things I wanted to talk about. One is that every interaction with your customer matters. The second is you should take the time to observe and monitor your customers. And then the third is the concept of insider perks. Okay, so let's start with every interaction with your customer matters. So if you haven't been to Disney World, if you go to a regular theme park, they're usually kind of dirty. Well, Disney World's a very clean park. And if you look around, there's usually someone there with a broom and like a dustpan. They're constantly sweeping and cleaning up the garbage. But if you really pay attention, which is hard because you're with your family and you're rushing to lines, but I took the time to look out, and you will notice that just random people. It could be young kid, someone in a suit, and everywhere in between will randomly pick up garbage, and you see them throw it in trash cans. Okay, and if you didn't know, you'll know from reading the book, is that those are all team members at Disney, and it's their job to always focus on customer experience. And so if they notice that the park isn't clean, like seeing garbage, is their job to pick it up and throw it out, not just the person who's got the broom and the dustpan. Other thing I got to notice, and this comes from waiting in line all the time, is just the fact of their calm customer service. So every time you go online, I got 10 other families that I'm listening to and watching, and I'll tell you that I know for me, maybe it's the same for you, that I kind of wear my emotions on my sleeve. If I got a great day, great morning, bad morning, something hanging over from the day before, like I bring that, and it's hard for me to not show it. These people from Disney World, you couldn't tell if they had baggage that they were bringing in, if they woke up and were in a bad mood, or death in the family, who knows, right? They were there, had a smile on their face, and it didn't matter the ridiculous questions they got asked, the overly dramatic people, or the people who are overly demanding. Like their face, not that they were stoic, but they just didn't show that they were upset. You know, if the family was, you know, being a little overly dramatic, and they handled them with the right care that they needed. And that's just something that is just not common you see in other places, but it's a focus at Disney, and I got to see it like a lot every day when I interacted with them. One thing that I didn't like from a customer experience point of view comes to the reservation system. So Disney used to have something called the Lightning Lane system, the Lightning Lane Pass. And basically what it was is that you book your trip, and then a certain time frame before you went on your trip, you could actually reserve what rides you wanted to go on. Now, as much as that that it was hard, like 4 months in advance, to know this is the day we're going to Magic Kingdom and here's a ride you want to go on. At least you're in the comfort of your home. You have some time to think about it. Okay. What they did is a new reservation system called U-Nique Plus, and we'll provide a link to more details because there's a lot to read about it. And it's from one of our favorite Disney bloggers, is the Disney Food Blog. But this new U-Nique Plus system, you no longer in advance pick what you want to do. Okay. So from a customer experience point of view, you now have to wake up early and at 7 o'clock in the morning, start picking what's the first ride you want to go on and reserve it. Okay. And if you don't start at 7, don't look at me like you're probably looking at me like I'm crazy, but I'm not. If you don't start at 7, within a couple minutes, like when the park opens, those rides are booked already. And you have to now wait till like 11 o'clock. Like that's how fast they go. So you have to wake up early. And as soon as it goes on, you have to know exactly what ride you're looking for to book it. You can't just log in and be like, what do I want to do today? You got to have a game plan. And so from like customer experience point of view, it was chaotic and just stressful. Like, had to make sure we woke up and booked the first one, and then you can relax. But guess what? You can do this multiple times during the day, and there's like a 2-hour timer. So then every 2 hours, you have to do it back. You have to have your next game plan ready and get ready to book. And guess what? It could be booked for the whole day, and now you have to know what your next backup plan is, right? And it was just one of those elements that I get it from a Disney point of view. They designed it to make sure that they didn't have 5,000 people show up to the ride at one time. Right? They have certain tickets in certain time slots, and it kind of manages the line. And I guess from a customer experience point of view, it makes the line more efficient, but I don't see that. All I saw and felt was the chaos and the stress of it. So from a customer experience point of view, I really did not like it. And it did remind me that, if you're going to make a change with your customers, like you really need to consult them. Okay. So for instance, like that lightning lane system, customers are already using it. And I feel like if they had done good consulting with customers, the customers would have been like, oh, what a great improvement this U-Nique Plus is. Like, no, like you can tell that was designed with Disney in mind, and what they thought might be a minor inconvenience was a really big deal. And you need to do the same thing with your customers. Like if you're going to make a change that's going to impact them, like just because you think it's minor, like it will not be minor to them. And you have to make sure you know about it. The second point was to take the time to like observe and monitor your customers. So I have some insider knowledge on this. My wife was an ex-intern with Disney for a few semesters. And so like one of the things she did, I always remember, is like she was in Epcot with binoculars on a roof monitoring the flow of people. Okay. And it's great because like they're always looking at bottlenecks because they change all the time because they're adding new rides or removing rides. Like the park's constantly evolving. So the flow of people constantly changes. Okay. Now, when I was at Disney, I didn't see anyone doing that. They're usually kind of hidden, so it's hard. But what I did see, if you really pay attention, is while you wait in line, you can see people measuring and observing the people in line. I saw people clicking little clickers, like tracking things. It's important because they're always looking at the flow of people and how long it takes. And that's why Disney has that great thing on their app that says like, hey, this ride has a 25-minute wait. And it's usually almost dead on accurate. So by observing people, things like the lightning lane and now the U-Nique Plus were able to come out because they realized, hey, if we put a reservation system in place, like that would improve the flow of it. And then things like, they see parents in the new age of smartphones handing their phones to their kid because they're like, I'm on vacation, I'm in a 2-hour line, just please leave me alone for a little bit, right? And, mom and dad have a headache. So they hand their phone to their kid. And so now the kid's playing games on the phone. Well, now Disney has an app called the Play Disney Parks mobile app. And so now my kids can pull out their phone, and on certain rides, the app can be used and they can play an interactive game in line. And it's actually got like some augmented reality to it where you hold the phone up and do certain things that only appear when you're in that line for the specific ride. So the last customer experience topic I want to talk about is the concept of insider perks. So Disney World is a large area and there's lots of hotels. There are certain properties called Disney properties. Think of like the Grand Floridian, hotels that Disney owns or like holds the rights to, and you get a perk for staying in those rooms. Okay, and it's things like early entry and extended hours. So if you just have a regular ticket and you're staying at a regular hotel or you live nearby, you get to go to the parks at a set time when they open. Well, if you stay in Disney property, you get to go an hour before everyone else. Okay, it's a big deal. You're spending a lot of money. You're only there for maybe 4 to 7 days. An hour in advance for a ride that's usually 2 hours. If you're one of the first couple thousand people into the park, like you can get to that line right away, and maybe you're only waiting 20 minutes. So it's a big deal. And same thing with the extended hours. So instead of getting to the park early, at the end of the day, when everyone has to leave, you get an extra hour on certain days based upon what property you're staying in. So again, if you play your cards right, you can go to the park an hour before everyone shows up and then stay at that park an hour after everyone and take advantage of shorter lines on the most popular rides. There's other things like free parking, which isn't usually a big deal, but this year we drove to Disney, so it's nice to kind of not have to pay for parking every time we drove around. One thing that I didn't think was a big deal before I got there, but realized it was, is that by staying at Disney property, you get to book your dining reservations in advance. And it is a huge deal because all the best times to eat, all the best restaurants, like, are reserved months in advance. And so if you don't stay on Disney property, you can still reserve a dining reservation. You can only do it, it's like 24 hours, maybe a couple days in advance, where if you're staying on property, you can do it months in advance. And so it was one of those perks that I didn't really think about before I went there, but my wife was in charge of booking all the stuff since she worked there and she knows the parks inside and out. When we got there, I realized how important that was. There's lots of other perks that you get with being, staying on Disney property, but it just made me think about like what we do in small businesses, like, the concept of these like loyalty programs, like apps, that didn't exist, a long time ago, and then big companies implemented. Like, it's now like even if you go to a small business in your town, like you almost expect to have like some type of app and loyalty program going on. And so from a customer experience point of view, as a small business, like you have to like start doing things different now since it's become so commonplace. And then from customer experience point of view, it's not just like your own silo, okay? So you can't just think about, well, I'm nicer to my customers than the competitor down the street is. What people nowadays are comparing your customer service to is what they get at any company, okay? Whether it's a shoe company, Disney, that's why I'm sharing these, is that if they're having this great customer experience at one place, and then they have your customer experience, which may be great, but compared to what they just got at Disney is lackluster, like now you don't look as good. So from a competition point of view, it's not just your competitors, it's anyone providing better experience to the customer. That's a competitor for you. And that's how you have to like analyze and look at your customer experience. So there's definitely some more lessons that I could have talked about, but these are the ones that I wanted to share my thoughts on. If you appreciate the advice, just please remember to like our videos and subscribe to our channel so you can see future content. And until then, just remember to don't conform and stay unique.